last month, our next guest and his wife celebrated their 10th wedding anniversary in Chicago with balloons and music and a nomination for President of the United States. Please welcome the first second gentleman in the history of the country, Doug Emhoff. Everybody wants to touch the sex kitten before they come out here. Welcome home. You're an L.A. guy, right?
It's good to be back.
You grew up here in L.A.?
Moved out here when I was in high school.
In high school?
Yeah, out to the Agora area in January of 1981. So I've been here just about my whole life.
Yeah, that's as close to being a native as you get out here, right?
Yeah.
And your wife, the vice president, was here. You were here with her in June, I think, a couple of months ago. How much have things changed since 2 months ago?
What are you talking about?
Have they changed? I mean, because it seems from the outside that they've changed tremendously, but I wonder from your perspective.
Everything's changed, and it's like being shot out of a cannon. So that day when she got the call, and I, of course, was stuck here in L.A. And didn't hear about it for 30 or 40 minutes. Since that moment, it's just been hustle, hustle, hustle. And there's almost no happy couple time anymore, because anytime I'm like, hey, look, you're on TV all the time, or look at this. She's like, stop, focus. We got to win this thing. Get back on the road. Get back on the road. Get out there. So there's no mucking about in the Emhoff-Harris household.
It sounds like a nightmare, to be honest.
But even at the convention, barely saw each other, and the whole big blended family was there, including my parents.
Oh yeah. So you had to wrangle. Did you have to wrangle everybody there?
It was like nobody gave me any consideration that I had to give a big speech on Tuesday. It was like all texting me, Doug, where do we go next? And what's the next thing? And I'm like, Mom, stop. And so, yeah, everyone was expecting me to just make sure they got to where they needed to get.
Were you nervous?
It's bizarre, even though I didn't know when I was speaking for a while. And then they told me, okay, you're going on prime time with these people called Michelle and Barack Obama. And you're going to go. And so that was like, okay, I better make this good. So for me, it was just, I wanted to make sure it honored her and explain to the world the person that I love so much, that is Kamala to the kids, Cole's here, and just let everyone know who she really is as a person. And then that last piece was like, and she's a badass, and that joyful warrior. But I wanted to talk about that warrior part, the one who really stepped up when we needed a leader and is ready to do this job day one.
And really, when you think about how things unfold in life and strange things that happen, the fact that it's your 10-year anniversary on that night is crazy.
It was so surreal, and of course I still had to come up big for our anniversary. Even I had
you did?
Oh yeah, and so I actually got the piano player who played at the after party at our wedding 10 years ago to the night. I figured out a way to get him to Chicago, and we had a little post her speech, little family gathering, and that dude played. And
that's very sweet.
And she was like, okay, that's pretty good.
But also, if I was her, I'd say, yeah, Stevie Wonder was here earlier.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Ramada Inn you pulled this piano player out of.
It's interesting. She did mention something about that. I was like, come on, I've been hustling.
When the vice president did a surprise walk-on, because people expected that she would speak at the end of the DNC, she came out right at the beginning, which I thought was a great move. Is it true that you did not know that she was doing that?
Yeah, and I was so consumed knowing that I had to give my speech the next night. And so I was there. In some ways I wasn't there, because I was really trying to focus on, okay, man, there's a lot of people here. There's so much energy, the signs, and I have to get up there somehow. And so when I saw her come out, I was like, what? what? But my new best friend, Tim Walz, is right next to me, and he's just losing his mind. And so
we have a video of that, actually, and... Yeah, and so you did seem surprised. And Tim Walz, were you part of the team that decided on who would be the running mate?
No.
You were not?
I'm her husband.
Even though you're going to be, on a personal level, you're going to be with this person a lot.
I met the guy once as second gentleman when I was in Minnesota on a small business tour, and he came out. It was a business meeting. He was very impressive, knew his stuff. And then the next time I saw him was that Tuesday night in the green room.
Talk me through this.
So we bond a little bit behind the stage, and then, oh, here we go, walk up.
And now this is you guys really doing a real, kind of white guy hug thing there.
It was.
For sure.
Yeah, I couldn't let go.
And then you're like, yeah, get back here, you.
Hello, Gwen.
And then wife's hand.
I got, my whole jacket got up, so I had to do get the sleeves back down. But I got so many text messages from actual longtime friends and family members saying, hey, man, you've never hugged me like that. You literally just met this guy.
This has to be crazy for your friends.
So I have a couple of really good group chats. I mentioned one in my speech, and those are the Jersey guys I grew up with since I was 3 years old. And it's always funny, and since I've been second gentleman, it's mostly just giving me crap all the time.
We learned during your speech that you worked at McDonald's, and we have that.
Right.
This is your Employee of the Month photo at McDonald's.
The pink Oxford. Oh, wow, there you go.
How long were you and the vice president dating before you realized you both worked at McDonald's?
It was pretty early on because, of course, I led with that.
Oh,
I led with on our infamous first date. Hey, honey,
Was she named Employee of the Month?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe the one thing I was better at.
What was your specialty at McDonald's?
So at McDonald's, you have to kind of learn how to do everything. And I took the job because I was new in town. I just moved from Jersey, and I wanted to meet people. I needed to make some extra money, and it was just kind of a lot of the kids in school were working there. So first, you're taking out the trash, washing dishes, then you maybe go to the fries, and then I learned how to do what they call the 10-to-1 grill, which 10 patties to a pound, 10 to 1. And so I learned how to do it during the rush where you're just flipping the burgers, searing them, getting the buns, dressing the burgers, and I learned how to do that. And I said, I think I can become Employee of the Month if I can crank out more and more burgers, and
I
made it.
I think you... Doug Emhoff is with us. We'll be right back. We are back with Doug Emhoff, the second gentleman. The second gentleman, that is an actual job, right?
It is now, yeah.
It is, yeah.
So it's funny, when she got elected, we were saying, okay, what should I do? What should I focus on? It turns out there was an org chart. And in federal government org chart, so top was vice president, office of the vice president. Then there was a line to a bubble that said second lady, and they crossed out the lady and just wrote spouse. And underneath that, it literally said family life. And Kamala said, yeah, that's not going to work. We're going to do that together. Why don't you go focus on some issues? You're the first man in this role. How about focusing on gender equity? And then, of course, when the Dobbs decision came out, I really leaned into that. And she said, you're the first Jewish person ever to be a White House principal. There was a rise in hate and anti-Semitism, and that was another thing that she really pushed me to use the voice on, and that's what I've been doing.
Did it take you a minute to get comfortable with that, with advocating for serious things?
Definitely, because, again, I was a Hollywood lawyer. I was an entertainment lawyer right here in this community for 30 years. I loved it, every minute of it, and it was a little jarring to go from that to get put on the Biden-Harris ticket and spend all that time getting them elected. Then it's like, okay, what do you do now? And going into that, Charlottesville, Tree of Life, there was just a rise in anti-Semitism. So I was already feeling that as a Jewish person. And so it was a real natural thing to lean into. And we got the first national strategy ever to counter anti-Semitism at the White House. And that was in part the fighting of my wife, the vice president.
What was your reaction when your wife turned black? Were you surprised?
You know, it's so interesting. All that stuff, it's a distraction, though. Like, we can joke about it, but it's literally a distraction. So all the insults, all the things coming at her, coming at me, coming at our family, it's really just a distraction from what they're trying to do.
The Supreme Court has ruled that the president has immunity, can do pretty much what the president wants to do. As her husband, does that worry you at all?
Once she gets elected, it's interesting. As she's preparing for the debate, somebody asked me, well, what's it like, debating her? You're both trial lawyers. Have you ever? I said, no, I've never won one. and so I'm looking forward to this.
Do you help with the practice for the debate with Trump? No, you're not involved.
No, imagine we're married we are husband and wife trying to keep up a really awesome relationship. And the last
but you're below her on the org chart.
We focus on family life. And so for me, the last thing I'm going to do is give her advice on things she's really awesome at. And if she asks something, once in a while, if she asks me something, I will let her know what I think. But we really try to keep that separate because we're really there, want to be there for each other, be there for our family, our kids, and all that stuff. Because otherwise,
and you probably have to pick up a lot of that slack when it comes to family and the parents and all that stuff.
Still really engaged, even now, even when she stepped up the way she has and hustling the way she has. She will still find time. I mentioned in the speech, I walked in and she's talking to Ella, or she's on the phone with Cole, or her, godnieces, her goddaughter, godson. So she's still. It nurtures her, it makes her happy, and it's she needs to stay connected, and for her to do the work for all of us, it makes her better.
Would you do me a favor, and if you do become first gentleman, would you grow a ponytail? Because I'm going to lose a lot of material if you know who was out of that, and that would help me a whole lot on a nightly basis.
What about just a mullet?
A mullet would be awesome, would be fantastic,
better,
maybe
right?
even better than a ponytail.
It might be better, yeah.
Your fantasy football league, you've been in it for how many years?
34.
34 years. Who's the first player you drafted? Who do you use your first pick on?
What did we do? Jalen Hurts, Cole?
Okay.
Garrett Wilson.
Okay. Oh, Cole keeps
track
of that.
Cole's my partner. ESPN rated us 12 out of 12, and we got a D. So, Cole, we got some work to do. They didn't like our draft.
They didn't like your draft?
No, but we came in second last year.
Have you ever won?
I won once in the year 2000. So it's a 24-year drought in the fantasy league with Team Nirvana. And
that's your team name?
Team Nirvana, after the band, yes.
Oh, really?
And so the owners are so funny. We're all stuck in time, and it's the same crew since 1989, essentially. And so you've got some great names like Rounders after the poker movie.
I won't watch that movie.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And then the best one is a now 60-something-year-old man with a team called Buttheads, after Beavis and Butthead. So it was funny when he was in his 20s, and now it's like, because we had the draft last night, I said, you know what, I'm going to burn you on national TV and talk about Butthead, so that's him.
Well, you know what? It'd be nice to see Nirvana win the fantasy league.
I know.
But if Nirvana doesn't win, I'm rooting for Buttheads. Yeah.
But I told the league if they let me win, we'll do the draft at the White House. And we came in second last year, and I begged the team, just tank so we can win. We'll do the draft at the White House.
The Situation Room would be the single greatest place to have a fantasy draft. Could you move over? We're bombing somebody.
Yeah, but they didn't tank, so we were doing the draft.
Well, it's great to have you here. Thank you for coming and for sharing your life with the whole country.
Well, and
now.
Again, you're part of it. When I moved to town, I listened to K-Rock, and then there's this guy called Jimmy the Sports Guy.
Oh, there you go.
And I got to tell you, I followed your whole career being the entertainment lawyer, but just because you started there, and I've just been rooting for you the whole time, just knowing that you made so many of us happy.
Well, now I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, so thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Doug Emhoff,
Thank you.
everybody. We'll be back with Money